I greet you with divine love and peace this morning. It's a rainy morning in Santa Cruz, California. Wherever you are, I know that God's light and God's love is with you as it is with us all. This morning, I want to share with you in this continuing series in our satsang about finding strength and solace in this time. Today's topic, today's focus is developing the soul power of fearless determination. Fearless determination. We have to begin where we are. And I find in this time that so many questions arise. Where do we turn for security in what feels so uncertain and so challenging? Where do we find solace? Where do we find strength and hope? So we look for signs of divine grace. And I really liked the readings that Reverend Atma chose this morning. One in particular from Mr. Davis that said, once we make that determination to turn towards divine grace, then we begin to see glimmers of it and we learn to cooperate with it. So we look for divine grace, the supportive power and presence of the One, wherever we can find it. We search our own hearts and our minds for inner guidance. We open ourselves to the infinite with our prayers and our meditations. We look for that which is unmoving, unchanging, absolute reality beyond thought, beyond conditions, beyond circumstances, so that we can regularly experience peace. We can realize that boundless, infinite reality that endures, that is our support during times of change. But today I want to continue to focus on one of the most powerful things we can do, and that is to cultivate the divine resources that are actually within us, that are not far from us, they are within us. In the teachings of yoga, we find the philosophy that the divine potentials are within us. Each of us is endowed with divine potential. As a wave carries the qualities of the ocean, so each and every one of us, as individualized expressions of that one reality, commonly called God, is imbued with divine powers and potentials. But of course, it's important to recognize the meaning of that word potential, because these divine qualities within us are dormant. They are just that, they are potential. So that means they're dormant until they're awakened, till they're realized, till they're called upon, till they're actualized. So they have to be brought forth to then be in cooperation with the infinite. So we have within us, of course, both these higher potentials, these divine potentials, and also what is known as, and we can recognize as, lower drives and tendencies. And times of great stress, like what we're in right now, has the potential to bring forth either our worst or our best. Without determination, without spiritual awakening, and the tendency that our tendency is then to default to the lower drives. Without spiritual determination and awakening, our default is to express those lower drives and tendencies, that are motivated by fear, by anger, by greed, selfishness, sloth, pettiness, arrogance, lack of virtue, and, on it goes. And, I'm pretty sure that, along with me, you've seen this played out on the screen of time and space every day, in our own minds, in our own behavior, in our own homes, and on the big screen, the world screen, our televisions and computers. This daily battle between the lower drives and tendencies and the divine potentials within us is the setting of the timeless scripture, the Bhagavad Gita. So that question that it poses is, okay, which is it going to be? What's going to win out? The lower egocentric drives or the higher divine potentials of the divine self, capital S, self? And what decides? What's the determinant of which is going to win? Well, you've probably heard that famous Native American fable, the elder teaching the young brave that we each have, two wolves that are fighting inside of us, on one side and on the other, ever at war with one another. One is the lower drives, the ego-based. It's full of selfishness and fear and anger and greed. And then on the other side is the wolf that is motivated by spiritual awareness, by love, by kindness, by generosity. And when the young brave asked the elder, well, which wolf is going to win this battle? The elder says, the one that you feed. So it is concerning the divine potentials within us. They're there, but we have to feed those divine potentials. We have to nurture them, strengthen them, and call them forth. So that is the background for the soul power of the day, which is determination. Insight into the teachings in the Bhagavad Gita that were offered by Paramahansa Yogananda and his teachers, the teachers in our lineage before him, is that the warriors on this battlefield of life represent these different inner qualities. The battle is between the lower drives and the higher divine potentials. And he correlated them with the positive and negative poles of the chakra centers. There are these subtle centers of soul consciousness within us. Now, the main character, the hero Arjuna, the archer, the warrior, represents the power, the soul power of determination. And it is associated, the soul power is associated with the third chakra, the one that's right there at the solar plexus. And it is connected with the element of fire in the subtle body. And this determination that Arjuna represents and this center highlights within us is the strength of willpower that becomes willingness. This determination is the strength of willpower that becomes willingness. It is the willingness that we come to, that we bring forth our determination and vow to engage in this battle to cultivate an awakened way of being. It's the willingness to follow a higher way of realization. It's a willingness to learn. It's a willingness to be transformed. It's a willingness to have this time change us and transform us. So it's not just the willingness to get through this time, but it becomes an active engagement in the battle between our own lower drives and tendencies and our higher potential for awakening at this time, and what this time can bring for us and for our world. The third chakra is situated between the quote unquote lower functions commonly associated with the ego, and security-based drives. And so it's right in the middle between those quote unquote lower drives and then the upper chakras, the higher drives of selfless love and surrendered devotion. So what is the soul power of determination, and how can it possibly help us at this time? Determination is the pivot point on our spiritual journey. Determination is the pivot point on our spiritual journey. It is really the doorway of discipleship. When the Gita story begins, the warrior, the consummate warrior Arjuna, is confused, he's stressed out, he's depressed, he's despairing. He does not want to be on that battlefield. And I think so many of us can relate to that part of the story right now. We don't want this to be happening in our life. We don't want it to be happening in our world. We don't want it. And that's exactly where Arjuna is. He sees all the suffering around him. He wants no part of it. He doesn't want to engage in it. He doesn't want to fight. He doesn't know what to do. And he's experiencing despair and symptoms of that. Let's see if I can find the reading from the first chapter. He says, "My limbs grow weak. My mouth is dry, my body shakes, and my hair is standing on end. My skin burns, and the bow Gandiva has slipped from my hand. I am unable to stand. My mind is whirling." And he looks around and he says, "This does not look good. And I don't know what to do." And following that declaration of how he feels, how he sees what's going on, what he's up against. He then makes a turn. He makes a powerful turn that is a turn of determination that opens the door for his transformation and ultimate victory. And what is that determination? That determination is his determination to learn. At that point, he says, "I don't know what to do. Teach me. Let me be your disciple." So I believe it's a turn we all have to make at this moment, in a stronger, deeper way, to turn and say, "Lord, guide me. Let me learn at this time. Let me be a disciple, a learner on this path, in this moment, in this powerful moment. Let me be transformed." Many of us are sitting in our own homes, doing what we can to contribute and to follow the protocols to help keep ourselves and others safe, to shelter in the storm. Others are in much more difficult situations, and we're aware of that. People who are ill, have family members who are ill, people on the margins of life. And there are countless others who are on the front lines. And they are the bodhisattvas among us, daily demonstrating the higher potentials of humanity in the midst of this battle. The healthcare workers, food delivery people, all those in so many walks of life, doing what they can to ensure that others are cared for. When we come to that juncture and we call upon our soul power of determination, we vow that we are determined to wake up now, to be transformed right where we are, wherever we are. And when we do that, the divine power that is within us rises up to support that vow. It's like saying to the divine infinite power, well, it is saying to the divine infinite power of love and transformation, rise up, take charge, show me I am determined to learn and to be awake, to be an instrument of healing and blessing at this time. What we can and must do, of course, is different for everyone. But I want to say that there is no doubt that everyone's selfless actions, everyone's gifts, everyone's prayers, and everyone's love is needed. Everyone's divine potential is needed at this time. And so let us call upon and cultivate our own determination to bring forth those divine qualities, because there is no doubt that global transformation is needed, and we are all a part of that. We are all essential to it. When we are determined to live as an enlightened being right now, not later, but as a bodhisattva, one who is committed to removing suffering and sorrow, even though it is completely impossible to do that, then it begins to be revealed to us what we can do right where we are. Whatever we can do is revealed to us. With the sole power of determination, then we do what's right in front of us. We do what we know we should do. I thought I would share with you, I'm reading from Eknath Ishwaran's translation of Bhagavad Gita, about these two wolves, about these two paths, the choices that we have to make at this time, the way in which we must bring up our soul power of determination to choose those divine potentials, to choose to express them. This is from chapter 16 of the Bhagavad Gita, which he has entitled Two Paths. The Lord Krishna begins by saying, "Be fearless and pure. Never waver in your determination or your dedication to the spiritual life. Be fearless and pure. Never waver in your determination or your dedication to the spiritual life. Give freely. Be self-controlled, sincere, truthful, loving, and full of the desire to serve. Realize the truth of the scriptures. Learn to be detached and take joy in renunciation. Do not get angry or harm any living creature, but be compassionate and gentle. Show goodwill to all. Cultivate vigor, patience, will, purity. Avoid malice and pride. Then, Arjuna, you will achieve your divine destiny." Other qualities, Arjuna, this is the other wolf, make a person more and more inhuman. Hypocrisy, arrogance, conceit, anger, cruelty, ignorance. The divine qualities within you lead to freedom. The divine qualities within you lead to freedom. The lower or the demonic drives within you lead to bondage. And then there's the beautiful promise that is for all of us because it is the truth. Krishna says to Arjuna, "But do not grieve. You were born with divine qualities." We were all born with divine qualities. We are imbued with innate divine potentials. And now more than ever, we must be determined to bring them forth. Om, peace, peace, peace.
Thank you so much, Yogacharya. I'm curious if you can hear me or not, because I have a different microphone. It's raining quite hard where I am. It's been raining hard, and it's loud on the roof, and apparently 100 people typed in, please ask Reverend Sundari to quit typing. So thank you for a beautiful message. And in a moment, we'll join in saying our source prayer together. Irma will put the words on the screen for us. And then after we say our prayer together, Yogacharya will offer some closing comments for us, blessings, and we'll have a chance to greet one another. Let's say this out loud if you're able to. Our source, which is perfect and includes all that is. We welcome you now and invite your dominion in our life. In this moment, all of our needs are met. May we freely give to others as we receive from you. May we remember you always and be free from the suffering of forgetfulness. For in you we thrive and prosper and celebrate without limitation. Amen. I want to thank you all for your generosity during this time. Your continued generosity is remarkable, and it's really been supportive for us to continue offering these services. So on behalf of Yogacharya and all of our ministers and staff, thank you for all that you have already given. I want to remind you about the online programs. Just go to the homepage. You'll find a link there. And for those who want to make a donation this morning, Irma will post a link in the chat to support that.
Thank you, Reverend Sundari. And thanks to Mukti Devi and Chris, who are bringing us the wonderful chants as we start up on Sunday morning with the satsang. And for Reverend Atma and Irma, who is the Wizard of Om behind the scenes, helping us get things set up. And my deepest gratitude to all of you who are joining in satsang. And one of the things I really appreciate is the opportunity to see you. And so this is our online darshan, the opportunity to share the vision of light, the divine vision of that beautiful soul light within us. So I want to ask you, please, now to go ahead and turn on your video so we can see you and we can see one another. So it's going to take a moment for people to get the message, but please begin now to turn on your video, and if you can, please turn it on so we can see you. I know we have right now 13 pages of beautiful souls to scroll through and greet. I see so many videos coming on. I know that we have people joining us from all across the US and from other parts of the world. So as you scroll through, feel free to wave, to offer your namaste, your heart love to those that you see. It's so beautiful to see you. It's a joy, deep joy. Those of you I know who are in other parts of the country, other states, those of you, I see my beloved husband in the next room. And I'm so happy that Bob Weeks has worn his tie to service again today. You'll see, you'll see Bob, and so beautiful to see you, to say hello to you. Please continue to take a moment, scroll through, and know you are waving to people in some cases across the, not only across the US, but across the planet. And that we are holding you in our hearts, our friends in Italy and in India, in Germany. I think we have a friend in Sri Lanka with us today. So, so beautiful to see you and to know and to watch you blessing everyone else. It is such a joy. So let us carry on this week with our great determination and our own bodhisattva vow to remove suffering, however we can do it. And remember that as we make that vow of determination, life itself comes to show us wherever we are, what is ours to do and what we can offer that is our dharma to offer, what is right for us. And remember that that's different for every person, but your gifts are needed at this time. Your light is needed at this time. So let us fearlessly shine it forth. I love you and I bless you, and I am thinking of you and praying with you every day. Om Shanti Shanti Hari Om Shanti. May absolute peace and divine love pervade the whole universe. Goodbye, everyone. I'll see you next time. Om.